All right, so today we're going to deep dive into something pretty wild. AI tattoo generators.
Oh, yeah, those are interesting.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Tattoos are forever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So using AI to kind of test out designs beforehand, I think that's pretty appealing. And we've got some good information about MockoFun. It's a platform, and it looks like they're doing some pretty cool things in this AI tattoo generator space.
Well, what's really fascinating to me is, tattooing, it's always been such a hands-on kind of personal art form.
Hmm.
And so seeing how AI is starting to shake things up a bit, you see some artists who are a little hesitant. They see AI as maybe a threat to their craft. But there are others who are really embracing it as a powerful new tool.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like having a digital brainstorming partner. So how do these things actually work?
So basically, imagine typing in a description.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you want a fierce Viking warrior with intricate knotwork, black and gray realism. And the AI, using what's called text-to-image generation, will actually create a visual based on that prompt. It's like magic, but it's really just some very clever algorithms at work.
That's crazy. And I was looking at the stuff from MockoFun. They've got like a dragon and cherry blossom tattoo, and they're just tweaking the prompt a little bit. And they can change the style and the colors and the whole feel of the design.
Yeah, and that highlights another really cool feature, which is image-to-image generation. So this is where you can take, say, a photo of your upper arm, and then using generative fill, which is another AI tool, the AI can actually place that tattoo design right on the image of your arm.
Oh, wow.
You can actually visualize how it would look on your own body.
That's pretty awesome. So no more tattoo regret.
Exactly. It's like a virtual try before you buy, except in this case, the buy is a permanent piece of art.
Right. It makes me think about back when I got my first tattoo. I was going back and forth so much with the artist to try and get the design just right. This would have streamlined things so much.
Absolutely. It saves everyone time and stress. And that's something that MockoFun really emphasizes is this idea of experimentation. So, they even have an AI typography feature that lets you play with different fonts and styles for name tattoos. And they actually provide the specific settings they used in their examples, so you can recreate those designs or use them as a starting point for your own.
Oh, cool. So they're not being secretive. They're actually helping people.
Yeah, it's all about giving users that control and kind of sparking that creative spark.
That's awesome. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about tattoo placement for a second, because that's a huge decision for anybody who's getting inked, Thinking about visibility and pain tolerance and all that stuff. And the MockoFun material actually breaks down some of the most common spots for tattoos.
Oh, cool.
From head to toe. I mean, there's a huge variety. It's crazy. Everything from ankles and fingers to full back pieces.
Yeah, and sleeve tattoos are becoming super popular, where the design covers the entire arm. And I think AI could really be a game changer for that. Because you can imagine being able to visualize how all these different elements will flow together on your arm before you even step into a tattoo shop.
That's a really good point. And then there's the whole world of tattoo styles, too, right? I mean, MockoFun talks about everything from traditional to biomechanical.
It's overwhelming.
It is overwhelming. But I was looking at some of the examples they gave of like anime and sticker and watercolor styles. And I thought, wow, the possibilities are pretty amazing.
It really is. Each style has its own kind of unique aesthetic and techniques. And AI gives you a chance to experiment with all of them. You can imagine like a watercolor tattoo with those like soft blended colors, or like a bold graphic anime-inspired piece. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So it sounds like MockoFun is really positioning itself as more than just an AI tattoo generator. It's like they're curating like a whole experience around tattoo design. They're providing tools for every step of the process.
Exactly. And what's really cool is that they're not just stopping at tattoos. They have a whole suite of AI tools within their graphic design app. AI image generation, face swapping, things like that. They're really pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI in the creative space.
Wow, that's super interesting. It's like they're building this digital art studio, and it's accessible to anyone with a smartphone or a computer. But let's bring it back to the tattoo world for a sec.
Yeah.
I mean, where does AI fit into this already established industry?
Well, it's definitely sparking some debate. Some traditional artists are worried that AI will devalue their skills or lead to a flood of, kind of generic designs, because originality and artistry are so central to tattooing.
Right. I get that. But at the same time, it's pretty exciting to see how some tattoo artists are already embracing AI, and they're starting to integrate it into their workflow. And it's becoming less about replacing human creativity and more about amplifying it. Like they're using it as a new set of tools to explore and evolve their craft.
Right, they're using it for inspiration.
Yeah.
Or for quick mock-ups, even for generating stencils. It's like having an extra pair of hands. It lets them focus on what they do best, which is the actual inking and bringing those designs to life on skin.
That makes a lot of sense. And, for anybody listening who's thinking about getting a tattoo, this is pretty big news, right? I mean, AI is making the whole process more accessible, more transparent, more fun even.
Totally. I couldn't agree more. It's giving people the power to really visualize their ideas, experiment with different styles, and collaborate with artists in new and exciting ways. It's just the beginning of a really interesting journey. So welcome back to our deep dive into AI tattoo generators. Last time we were talking about how this technology is really kind of shaking up the tattoo world a little bit, creating some tension, but also opening up these really cool possibilities.
Yeah, it's like this clash of the old and the new. And I'm curious to see where it all leads. Now, we've been focusing a lot on MockoFun, but the stuff we've been looking at also mentions some other players in this AI tattoo generator space, like Black Ink AI and Art Guru. What sets them apart?
Well, you can think of Black Ink AI as the specialist. It's really laser focused on those classic flash tattoo designs, those bold lines, iconic imagery, the kind of stuff that you'd see lining the walls of a traditional tattoo shop.
Okay, so for those people who want that, like, timeless tattoo look, Black Ink AI would be the way to go.
Exactly.
I can see the appeal for, like, both artists who are maybe looking for inspiration and just people who want a design that's, like, already tried and true.
Right. And what's cool is that Black Ink AI doesn't just churn out generic designs. It gives you a ton of control over the customization. Things like line weight shading, color palettes. You can really tailor it to your liking. You can even tweak the algorithms to mimic different tattooing techniques like hand poke styles.
Wow, that's really interesting. So they've really thought about this. It's like they bottled up the essence of traditional tattooing and turned it into AI. What about Art Guru? Where does that fit in?
Art Guru is more of the all-rounder. It's not exclusively for tattoos, but it does have a dedicated tattoo design feature that's really known for its user-friendliness and its ability to handle a wide range of styles.
Okay, so it's like the Swiss Army knife of AI art generators. You could use it to, like, paint a landscape or design a tattoo.
Exactly, and I think that's a big part of its appeal. If you're somebody who likes to dabble in different creative mediums, Art Guru kind of lets you explore them all in one place.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the actual process of using these AI tattoo generators. I imagine it's a little more involved than just typing in a prompt and hoping for the best.
Right. It's definitely a little bit of a dance between you and the AI. You start with a prompt describing the concept style elements that you want, and then you can refine the results by adding more specific details, or tweaking the parameters, or even combining elements from multiple designs.
So it's really like a collaboration.
Yeah, it's like a brainstorming session with a digital artist.
That's a cool way to think about it. So what do you think the long-term impact of AI is going to be on the tattoo industry? Is this just a passing fad, or is this a real, like, fundamental shift?
I definitely think it's more than a fad. AI is here to stay, and it's already changing things. But whether it's a positive or negative force really depends on how it's used. There's potential for AI to democratize tattoo design and make it more accessible to people who wouldn't normally have the resources or connections to work with a traditional artist.
That's a good point. It could open up a lot of creative avenues, especially for people who've maybe felt excluded from the traditional tattoo world. But you could also see how some artists might feel threatened by this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, is there a concern that AI could devalue the artistry and scale of traditional tattooing?
There are definitely valid concerns. Some artists worry that AI will lead to a flood of generic designs, or a loss of originality and a decline in the appreciation for handcrafted tattoos.
I can see that. But couldn't you also argue that AI could help elevate the industry by freeing up artists to focus on what they do best, the artistry, the technique, the connection with the client?
For sure, AI can handle those more technical or repetitive tasks. So artists can dedicate more time to the creative side of things.
Right. It's about finding that balance,
Mm.
using AI as a tool to enhance human creativity, not replace it.
Exactly.
So for someone listening who's intrigued by all this, maybe they're even thinking about getting a tattoo, what's the takeaway for them? How do they navigate this new world of AI-assisted tattoo design?
I think first and foremost, don't be afraid to experiment. Play around with these platforms, see what you can create, explore different styles, experiment with prompts, see what sparks your imagination. It's all about discovery, and AI can be a really fun tool for that.
It's like a digital playground for tattoo ideas.
Yeah.
But it's also important to remember that AI is just a tool. It's not a replacement for human connection. and that artistic expertise.
Right, if you're serious about getting a tattoo, don't just rely on AI. Use it for inspiration for refining your vision. But ultimately, you want to find a tattoo artist whose work you admire. Someone who understands your vision and can bring it to life.
It's about that collaboration. You're blending the possibilities of AI with the artistry of a human tattooist. Which brings up another question. We've talked a lot about AI's impact on tattoo design. But what about the actual tattooing process itself? Could we see AI-powered tattooing robots in the future?
It's an interesting thought. You know, the idea of a robot tattooing you might seem like science fiction, but the truth is AI and robotics are already being used in body modification.
Really? Like what?
Yeah, there are companies developing robotic systems for things like micropigmentation, which is used for permanent makeup and medical tattooing. So it's not that crazy to imagine that technology being adapted for artistic tattoos.
Wow, so the future of tattooing could be even more high-tech than we realize.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
It definitely raises questions about the role of human artists, but for now I think AI is still in its early stages of disrupting the world of tattooing.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. We've explored these AI tattoo generators, we've debated the pros and cons, and we've even talked about these futuristic possibilities.
It's been quite a journey, but before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I think it's important to circle back to the listener and remind them that AI is a tool, a powerful tool, but still just a tool. The real magic comes from human creativity.
I love that it's not AI versus humans. It's AI and humans working together.
That brings me to something I've been thinking about. We've been really focused on the technical and creative side of AI tattoo generators, but I'm wondering about the emotional side of things. You know, tattoos are deeply personal. They're filled with meaning. They're connected to big moments in our lives. How do you think AI impacts that emotional connection between a person and their tattoo? That's a really great question, and it gets at the heart of why tattoos are so special, you know? I think the emotional connection to a tattoo is deeply personal, and I don't think that changes regardless of how the design was made.
It's about the story behind it, the intention, the meaning.
Exactly. Whether you sketch your tattoo by hand or use an AI generator, the meaning comes from you.
I like that a lot. So for anyone who's a little hesitant about using AI for something as personal as a tattoo, it doesn't take away from the meaning.
If anything, it can empower you to really explore those possibilities and create a design that truly speaks to you.
And that's something worth celebrating.
Yeah.
I think that's a great place to wrap up part 2 of our deep dive.
Yeah, stay tuned for part 3. We'll actually try out some of these AI platforms ourselves.
It's going to be fun. See you then. All right, welcome back to our deep dive into the world of AI tattoo generators. We've talked a lot about the theory behind it. We've debated the impact, and now it's time to actually try these things out ourselves.
Yeah, let's roll up our virtual sleeves and get some digital ink.
I like that. So we've got MockoFun, Black Ink AI, and Art Guru all ready to go. And we talked about how these platforms can be like playgrounds for tattoo ideas.
Yeah.
So let's start with that. Remember how the MockoFun material talked about their virtual tattoo simulator? Let's try that out. I've always been kind of fascinated by geometric tattoos, so I'm curious to see what the AI can come up with.
Yeah, geometric tattoos are super popular right now. Those clean lines and intricate patterns can be really striking. And I think MockoFun's AI should be able to handle that complexity pretty easily. Remember how they were talking about experimentation? Maybe you could play around with some prompts. Try incorporating some personal symbolism or a theme.
Okay, that's a good idea. I'm thinking of geometric design inspired by nature. Maybe something with like mountains and trees and a compass. Let's see what the AI can do. What are you going to explore while I'm working on that?
I'm drawn to Black Ink AI and its focus on classic flash. So I think I'm going to try and generate a traditional eagle tattoo. It's a classic for a reason, you know, bold, powerful, timeless. Plus, I'm curious to see how the AI handles all those intricate feather details.
Okay, cool. All right, so I think I've got something here. It's definitely geometric, lots of triangles and lines, but it's not quite the nature theme I was going for. It looks more like a blueprint for a spaceship.
Ah, yes, the unpredictable world of AI art. Sometimes it takes your prompt in a totally different direction, but that's part of the fun, right? You can always refine the prompt, add more details, or just use that unexpected result as inspiration for something new.
Yeah, true. Maybe I need to be more specific with my wording. Instead of just saying mountains, maybe I could describe the shapes and textures.
Oh,
I might add some color, too.
yeah, experimentation is key. Speaking of which, how's that eagle tattoo coming along?
Oh, wow. I'm impressed. Black Ink AI definitely nailed that classic flash look. The lines are so clean and bold. The eagle has this super fierce expression. And the feather details are incredible. You're right, it really captures that traditional style.
Yeah, I'm finding black ink is great at those bold graphic styles that translate so well to tattoos. And the customization is amazing. I was able to adjust the line weight to give it that hand-drawn feel, and even tweak the shading to look like it was done with a traditional coil machine.
That's really cool. Okay, so we've explored the more specialized platforms.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about Art Guru, the jack of all trades. Let's give that one a try.
Okay, let's give it a challenge. Remember we talked about how AI can sometimes struggle with intricate styles? Let's see if Art Guru can create a biomechanical tattoo. You know, those designs are super complex with all the gears and pistons and metal parts.
Ooh, that's a good test.
Yeah.
If it can handle that, we'll know it's the real deal. All right, I'm typing in a prompt for a biomechanical half sleeve with some floral elements, just to add some contrast.
Cool.
We'll see what it comes up with. So while we're waiting, what are your overall thoughts now that you've had a chance to play around with these AI tattoo generators? Are they living up to the hype?
You know, I'm really impressed. They're not just gimmicks, they're actually really useful tools for exploring creative ideas. I think they could be so valuable for artists and enthusiasts. It's like they help break down those barriers and open up so many possibilities.
Yeah, and while some people might be a little hesitant about using AI for something as personal as a tattoo, I think these platforms have the potential to make the whole experience better.
Yeah, more accessible, more collaborative, more fun.
Okay, the results are in. Wow, Art Guru did not disappoint. It really captured all those intricate details of the biomechanical style, and it even incorporated the floral elements I asked for. The way the metal parts blend into the flowers is beautiful.
That's amazing. It really shows the potential of AI to blend different styles and create something unique. It's like it pushes us beyond what we think is possible.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into AI tattoo generators, what are your final thoughts?
Well, I think we're seeing a really interesting evolution happening in the tattoo world. AI is here to stay. It's a powerful tool, but it's up to us to use it responsibly, ethically, and creatively. It's all about that synergy between human artistry and technology.
And for all our listeners who are intrigued by all of this, just remember that the best way to learn is to explore. Play around with these platforms, see what you can create, and most importantly, have fun.
Yeah, don't be afraid to experiment, push boundaries, and discover all the possibilities that AI has to offer. The future of tattooing is exciting.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into AI tattoo generators. And until next time, keep those creative sparks flying.